Good evening, roadsters. Prepare for another detour into darkness with our asphalt anthology. Tonight, we'll navigate through tales so terrifying they'll make your car keys shake. These stories aren't just road trips, they're pavement-pounding nightmares where the tar beneath your tires tells tales of terror. So buckle up for an evening where every road leads to a fright, and remember, here, the blacktop is not just a surface, it's a tar nation of chills. Happy listening on this asphalt adventure. I worked in construction for about 10 years and did my fair share of building and repairing roads. I was lucky enough to have a good crew, and most of the time we got our work done without any mishaps. But there was one job on Old Mill Road that still gives me chills whenever I think about it. It was late autumn, the kind where the air bites at your skin and the leaves have all fallen, carpeting the earth in decay. We were repaving a stretch of road that hadn't seen maintenance in decades. The asphalt was old, cracked, and seemed to have absorbed the sorrow of every traveler who had passed over it. We started early, our machines heating and pouring the fresh tar. Everything was going smoothly until we reached the old bridge that spanned a dried-up creek. The asphalt there was different. It was darker, almost blacker than it should be, like it had infused with something not of this world. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across our work, one of the crew, Jake, noticed something odd. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a spot where the new asphalt was bubbling up, even though it had cooled. We all gathered around, watching as the tar seemed to pulse, almost like a heartbeat. We laughed it off as a strange anomaly and continued our work, but as night fell, the sounds of the forest grew silent, replaced by a low, continuous hum that seemed to come from beneath the road itself. We tried to ignore it, telling ourselves it was just the wind or maybe some machinery left running. Then around midnight, we heard the first scream. It was Bobby, one of our night workers. He came running back, his face pale, eyes wide with terror. "It's the road," he gasped. "It's pulling me in." We rushed to where he'd been working, only to find the asphalt had formed a perfect, human-sized cavity. The edges were still warm, there was no sign of Bobby anywhere. Panic set in. We tried calling for help, but our phones had no signal, as if the road was isolating us from the outside world. We decided to flee, but as we tried to drive away, the road seemed to shift and twist. Tires sank into the asphalt like quicksand, and every attempt to escape only led us back to that cursed spot. One by one, my crew disappeared into the black tar, their screams echoing into the night until there was only silence. I was the last one, and somehow I managed to crawl to safety, leaving behind my tools, my crew, and whatever dark secret Old Mill Road was hiding. I never went back, and I never told anyone the full story until now. But sometimes, I swear I can still hear the hum of that cursed road, calling and waiting for the next crew to lay down their lives along with the asphalt. One time when I was 5, my family and I took a cross-country road trip, and as I'm sure many of us remember from such trips, there was construction on some of the highways. Apparently my parents had no idea it would be so extensive on our planned route, and it really set us back. The detour led us through a part of the country I'd never seen before, where the roads were narrow, winding, and bordered by dense dark woods. We were driving through this remote area when we hit a stretch of newly laid asphalt. The road was still warm, the smell of tar heavy in the air, creating an eerie atmosphere. Even at 5, I knew something felt off about this place. My dad tried to lighten the mood by saying it was like driving on a freshly baked cookie, but his laughter sounded forced. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of blood orange and deep purple when our car suddenly began to slow down. No matter how much my dad pressed the gas, we seemed to be stuck in place, as if the asphalt was holding us back. Dad muttered something about it being a mechanical issue, but I saw the fear in his eyes when he looked out the window. Outside, the road seemed to shift. The asphalt wasn't just warm, it was moving, bubbling like a cauldron at the edges of our tires. My mother's grip on my shoulder tightened as we heard a low, guttural sound emanating from beneath us. It wasn't an engine or any machine, it was more like the earth itself was groaning. I remember we all sat in silence, watching as the road began to form shapes, dark figures rising from the tar. They were formless at first, but as they solidified, they looked like people, or what was left of them, trapped in the asphalt. Their faces were contorted in silent screams, hands reaching out as if trying to escape their asphalt prison. My father tried to reverse, but the car wouldn't budge. The figures from the road started to move towards us, their steps slow, their bodies still half melted into the asphalt. My mother started to pray, her voice trembling, while my little brother held his face in his lap. Suddenly, the car jolted forward, as if whatever had held us let go. We sped away, leaving the nightmarish scene behind, but the road seemed endless, the same figures appearing in our rearview mirror, never getting further away. We finally made it out of that stretch, but that road trip was cut short. We never spoke of it again, but I've learned since then that some roads carry more than just travelers. They hold secrets, memories, and sometimes the souls of those who never left. Now, whenever I see fresh asphalt, I feel that chill, remembering the road that almost didn't let us go. I did engineering back in college, and for one of my electives I took this course on building materials. I wasn't actually in civil engineering, but I needed the credits in this one category, and the class fit with my schedule. One day, our professor arranged for us to visit a new road construction site to see the practical application of asphalt laying. The site itself was out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by dense woods, the kind where the trees seem to watch you. As we walked through the site, I felt an odd chill despite the summer heat. The asphalt was freshly laid, still steaming in some places, giving off a pungent tar smell that seemed to cling to everything. After the tour, I decided to linger, taking notes for a project. That's when I noticed it. The asphalt was behaving strangely. It was bubbling in patches, not just from the heat, but as if something was moving beneath it. I know I should have left then, but curiosity got the better of me. As dusk approached, the site crew had left, and I was alone. Suddenly, the bubbling became more violent, and dark shapes began to form from the asphalt. They almost looked like people, distorted and twisted, their expressions frozen in terror, trapped in the tar. I tried to run, but my feet felt like they were sinking into the road itself, each step heavier than the last. Just as despair set in, I heard the sound of an engine and the light of headlights. A car screeched to a halt near me, and out jumped Maddie, a fellow student from the civil engineering department. She was known for her brilliant mind and her striking appearance, curves that seemed almost too perfect to be real, even in her practical work clothes. "Stay close to me," she shouted, pulling me away from the road. She had come back because she had left her clipboard and felt something was off. She also knew about the legends of this area, tales of workers disappearing into the asphalt, their souls becoming part of the road. Maddie had brought a special mixture she'd been working on, something she developed for her thesis on asphalt stabilization. She threw the granules onto the road, and they reacted instantly, the asphalt hardening and the figures sinking back into the road, their cries fading. With the road now safe, she helped me to her car, her touch reassuring. "I always knew there was something weird about this place," she said, her voice a mix of relief and excitement. We drove away, the terror of the night slowly replaced by a sense of awe for the woman who had just saved my life. From that day, Maddie and I became inseparable, her intelligence and beauty drawing me in every day. We graduated, and I switched my major to civil engineering, inspired by her. We built a life together, with her always reminding me, with a playful smile, to stay away from freshly laid asphalt. So far, we've lived happily ever after, her ingenuity and love having saved me from more than just a road that wanted to claim another soul. Back in 5th grade, our school blacktop was finally getting resurfaced, and honestly, it was long overdue. The old asphalt was cracked and crumbling, causing more than one scraped knee during recess. We were all excited to see the transformation, but none of us expected what would happen. The construction crew worked throughout the night, and by morning the playground was covered in fresh, shiny black asphalt. It smelled of tar and new beginnings, but there was something off about it. The new surface looked almost too perfect, like it was more than just asphalt. During recess, we all ran out to explore the new playground, but the moment our feet touched the ground, a strange sensation washed over us. It was like the asphalt was watching and listening. Kids started to notice their shadows moving oddly, as if they were part of the ground rather than cast by the sun. Then, without warning, the asphalt began to ripple. It wasn't just the heat of the day, it was as if the ground itself was alive. Children screamed as they found themselves sinking into the blacktop, their cries muffled as they were pulled down. Teachers rushed to help, but the ground swallowed them too. This is where panic set in. I managed to climb onto one of the play structures, watching in horror as my classmates disappeared into the asphalt. That's when I remembered the rumors about Elon Musk's experimental cyber asphalt, meant to be an indestructible, self-healing road material. But this wasn't healing, it was consuming. Just as all hope seemed lost, a sleek, futuristic vehicle skidded onto the playground, its tires not sinking into the asphalt. Elon Musk himself stepped out, wearing his signature black turtleneck, his eyes focused and determined. "Stay back," he shouted, pulling out a device from his car. He explained that this batch of cyber asphalt had been sabotaged, turning it into a sentient, predatory material. With a few taps on his device, he activated what he called a reverse polarity field, which would counteract the asphalt's aggressive behavior. The ground began to shift, the blacktop trembling as if in anger. Slowly, the children and teachers started to emerge from the ground, coughing and gasping for air, the asphalt reluctantly releasing its hold. Musk's technology was working, pulling the asphalt back to its inert state. After everyone was safe, Musk apologized for the unintended consequences of his innovation. He promised that this incident will lead to better safeguards in his future projects. The school blacktop was then covered with a completely different, safe material, but the playground was never the same. I grew up with the story of that day, a tale of terror and rescue, where the visionary Elon Musk turned what could have been a tragic end into a miraculous save. We learned about the dangers of unchecked innovation, but also the potential for heroism when technology is harnessed for good. And from then on, whenever I saw new asphalt being laid, I couldn't help but wonder what secrets lay beneath its smooth, dark surface. I once took this class about computer modeling, and for one of the assignments, we had to model a real-world object complete with textures and other features. I decided to model an asphalt road, honestly because it seemed rather easy. Little did I know, this project will lead me into an experience that would chill me to the core. For my model, I used high-resolution textures to capture the gritty, dark essence of asphalt, adding in cracks and pebbles to give it realism. However, while working late one night, my computer began to behave strangely. The model of the road seemed to come to life on the screen, not just visually, but interacting with my system in ways it shouldn't. The asphalt began to morph, the cracks in my model turning into pathways in my computer's file system. It was like the road was spreading through my computer, infecting it with a digital form of itself. I tried to shut down the program, but my cursor was stuck, overridden by the asphalt's pixelated tendrils. In a moment of panic, I reached out to the tech community for help, and that's when Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, took note. He decided to intervene personally, bringing with him the latest tech marvel, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090. This GPU was a beast. It featured a massive GB202 GPU with 21,760 CUDA cores, 32GB of GDDR7 memory on a 512-bit memory interface, offering unprecedented computational power for AI and real-time graphics processing. Its TDP was rumored to be around 575 watts, showcasing its capacity for heavy workloads. Huang explained that the RTX 5090 had been designed with advanced AI capabilities in mind, including a new form of tensor cores and an enhanced ray tracing engine. He proposed using the GPU's power to run an AI that could understand and counteract the sentient code that had taken over my system. Here's how he suggested the AI could exploit the RTX 5090's architecture. CUDA cores utilization. With over 21,000 CUDA cores, the AI could parallel process millions of instructions per second to analyze and reverse engineer the asphalt's code. This could help it look for patterns or backdoors. The vast 32GB of memory would also allow the AI to keep large datasets in memory, facilitating complex simulations of the road's behavior. This could include predicting its next moves and creating a counter-strategy. The tensor cores could accelerate machine learning algorithms, enabling the AI to learn from the asphalt's behavior in real time, adapting its defense mechanisms faster than the road could evolve. Lastly, by using the advanced ray tracing capabilities, the AI could visualize the digital landscape of my computer in 3D, identifying where the asphalt code was infiltrating and how to block it. Jensen connected the RTX 5090 to my system, and within moments the AI he had prepped began its work. It analyzed the digital asphalt, learning its patterns, and then started to isolate and quarantine the malicious code. The screen showed the asphalt retreating, the cracks closing, and my system returning to normalcy. Huang explained that the AI had essentially outsmarted the road by using the GPU's architecture to simulate millions of scenarios, finding the one where the road's code would collapse upon itself. It was a battle of algorithms, won by the sheer processing might and AI capabilities of the RTX 5090. After the ordeal, I was left with a profound respect for the potential of technology, both for creation and for destruction. Jensen Huang's intervention not only saved my project, but also my computer, and he left me with a new RTX 5090, a reminder of the night the road came alive in my system. Now, I'm more cautious with my modeling projects, always aware of the thin line where technology can blur into the realm of the uncanny. Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated with asphalt. Besides living on a street that was paved with asphalt and having fond memories playing in it, I'm not sure why. But one day, my obsession took a turn into the realm of the utterly bizarre. It all started when I bought a magical asphalt nugget from a mysterious vendor at a flea market. This wasn't just any ordinary piece of road, it was said to be from the interdimensional highway, a myth among road enthusiasts. Unbeknownst to me at the time, this nugget was the key to unleashing a series of events so ludicrous they could only happen in a fever dream. The first sign of trouble was when my pet hamster, Fluffy, started speaking. Not just any speech, but he was reciting poetry about the virtues of asphalt, his tiny voice echoing an ode to the blacktop. I literally thought I was going mad until my refrigerator started dispensing hot asphalt instead of ice cubes, the tar steaming in my kitchen like a volcano of road material. Next, my television tuned itself to a channel broadcasting live from Asphaltia, a parallel universe where the ground was entirely made of sentient asphalt. On the screen, people were rollerblading on living roads that would change paths under their feet, leading them on adventures or into traps. The newscaster, who was a giant pothole with eyes, warned about the dangers of asphalt flu, where people would start craving to eat asphalt. Confused and utterly terrified, I tried to get rid of the magical nugget, but it had grown, now the size of a basketball, rolling around my house like it owned the place. It would play tricks, like transforming my socks into miniature road stripes and my bed into a speed bump. Then, things got really weird. Aliens from the planet Tarax landed in my backyard, looking for the Asphalt Codex, a document rumored to be hidden within the nugget. These aliens, who look like tar-covered chickens, explained that the Codex could grant control over all asphalt in the universe. They needed it to stop an intergalactic road rage incident that threatened to turn galaxies into giant parking lots. In a twist of fate, my neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, who was secretly a retired asphalt witch, intervened. She lived through the Great Asphalt War of 1978 and knew the spells to control the magical asphalt. Together, with her incantations and my sheer panic, we managed to shrink the nugget back to its original size. But unfortunately, the chaos didn't end there. The asphalt nugget, now sentient, decided to run for mayor of our town, promising roads that would dance to your favorite songs or grow trees out of the potholes. It even had campaign slogans like, "Vote for me," or "The road won't vote for you." In the end, the election was won by a landslide, literally, when an actual landslide of asphalt swept through town, carrying the nugget to City Hall. The town's residents, now half human, half road, celebrated by organizing the first Asphalt Olympics, where the main event was competitive pothole jumping. Then I woke up one morning to find everything back to normal, or so I thought, until I noticed my coffee now had a slight tar flavor. And every time I step on the road, I swear I can feel a chuckle beneath my feet, as if to remind me that normalcy was just another layer of asphalt over a very bizarre reality.